Hello, Reds, and welcome back to Knock Off the Perch, your go-to podcast for all things Manchester United. I'm Dheeraj, and alongside with me is my co-host Aruj, and we're thrilled to have you back as we dive into another exciting season.
Hi everyone. In this episode of the pod, we discuss what is ahead for us this particular season. We talk about our expectations in the Premier League, what to expect in European competitions and other domestic cups. We also talk about our build up to the game against Fulham and we talk about our predicted 11. Let's get into it.
Brilliant. A lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement around the season. Aruj, it was a long Euro, it was a long pre-season, lot of signings for a change. As a Manchester United fan, we saw finally Premier League is upon us. We have the first game for them in the next 48 hours. What do you see United doing this season? What are your realistic expectations and what are your wild expectations out of United? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I think well put. The realistic expectations and what I want to see, I think maybe way off, but I will give both of them a shot. In terms of realistic expectations, I think good style of play is something that comes to my mind first because there were times in the last season and a half when we did get a few results our way, but the performance of the team was not up to the standards that we wanted it to be. I think if we go 1.5 seasons back, the game against Barcelona, where we beat them in the round of 32 in the Europa League, and then winning the game against Newcastle to lift the Carabao Cup. Since then, there has been a bit of a downfall in terms of the style of play that we have seen. Obviously, in bits and parts, and the entire team has been available, we have seen a few things go well our way. But in the larger scheme of things, there have been a lot of misses in terms of how we have approached the games. So first thing for me is to have solid patterns of play. The players are playing as per the instructions of the manager. The squad is backing the manager and playing to the instructions that the manager is laying out, and hopefully that will bring out the patterns of play. We have seen Eric Ten Hag do that in his previous managerial roles. So that is the first thing. What do you think in terms of the patterns of play? What is your thought process there?
So yeah, a lot of times the our main complaint from Eric Ten Hag has been that he has not got a certain style of play. We know how City play a tiki taka. We know how Liverpool play. They're getting pressing best. We know Arsenal how they play. There's not been a playing style associated with United for the last 3, 4, 5 years. So under Ole, maybe we had a counter-attacking style, but since then, there is not one specific style which has been associated with Eric Ten Hag. He has attributed this to lack of squad depth, same backline not present. So something which we have continuously seen, and this was when he brought Onana back to United, is him trying to build up from the back. I'd like to see more of that. I still see Onana going long a lot of times, and even though against some teams it is necessary, I'd rather us be a team which builds up from the back, not just for the sake of doing it, but because I sincerely believe that once we start doing that effectively, we do tend to break teams more. We do tend to create more chances. That plus a robust midfield. When I say a robust midfield, I'd like to see our midfielders dominate possession, control the speed of the match. That is something which we haven't. We have always been a reactive team. We have always been a reactive team since the last 2 years. That is something which I'd very much like to change. And even though I understand we have almost the same set of midfielders, but I'd like that to change. I believe a new spine of defense will help us do that, will help us maintain a higher line and do much more things in midfield. That is something which I'd like to see in our new style of play or an established style of play.
Yeah. And it is not that managers with other Premier League teams have taken so much time to establish their style of play. Look at Unai Emery, look at the Brighton's manager, look at Glasner for Crystal Palace. All of them in a very short span of time have been able to establish a style of play that works for their team, and They have done that without making a lot of signings as well. So I agree, we are Manchester United. It comes with a lot of pressure to deliver on the results. I can't compare us with all of these teams. But it's been 2 years. We are into Eric Ten Hag's third season. So style of play appearing very distinctly is something we all want to see.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So our last five finishes in the last 5 seasons have been third, second, sixth, and another 2 years of Ten Hag era, third, and our worst ever finish in the Premier League era, eighth, which was last season. Where do you realistically see us finishing this year?
Realistically, I see us finishing third. It may be a wish as well for some, but given how the Premier League is playing out, or what the current scenario in the Premier League is, with Aston Villa having to play Europe for after a long time, Liverpool under a new manager, although in the pre-season they've been doing well, I have a feeling they will face a drop off. They haven't really signed anybody. Manchester City and Arsenal, in all likelihood, will continue to be the top two teams, but I have a strong feeling United will do well and end up third. That is my realistic prediction.
Realistic prediction is quite optimistic, I must say. I'm not as optimistic. See, what I'd like to see is a good style of play. We discussed that. Realistically, I don't see us finishing more than fourth. But yeah, I hope you prove me wrong by the end of the season. I still believe Liverpool do have their spine of players, their stronger spine of players intact. Their Andersons, their Salahs, and their Van Dijk. They new midfield, which did come in good. They started playing McAllister, Soboslai, and Avi Elliott. They did start playing very well together. I hope that is the case with our defense this year, which has been a complete rebuild. I still think Tottenham has a very good chance of finishing in the top four this year. Yeah, but I do believe a fourth is something which is expected out of Ten Hag also this year. He has been given the reins for another couple of years. I believe it was the FA Cup which gave him a breath of life, a second chance for the United, for managing Manchester United. What do you think?
See, realistically, it's a tough Premier League. There is no doubt about that. The facts that you mentioned about Liverpool, Spurs, we can't discount Villa. Newcastle don't have Europe this season, so it will be tough. I am not discounting any of those teams. I just have a feeling that with the signings that we have made, with the kind of players we are either putting on fringe or removing from the squad, I feel the squad should sort of come together and back the manager and sort of play to his style. And I have a feeling things will click this season, which is why that realistic prediction of third. But it will not be easy.
Agree. And that is where I think as fans, it is, our responsibility to have some patience, to show some patience to the manager. We have a completely new coaching staff. We have so many new players, and as much excitement it brings, it also brings a certain level of uncertainty. You don't know which players will hit the ground running. You don't know which players will take some time to adapt to the new culture, to the speed of Premier League. So it's important that we remember that success won't come overnight. So as the team is evolving, it will take some time to build something truly great. So as long as we keep seeing that exciting style of play, as long as we keep seeing those patterns, I believe we as United fans should be a bit more patient with Ten Hag, with the team, with the players as well.
I will just differ a little bit. I mean, last season I was all for patience, given there were so many injuries and all of that. But this season, I think we will need those results. And interestingly, the kind of setup Ineos have along with Eric Ten Hag this season, you never know if things don't go well. We have a ready-made manager in Ruud van Nistelrooy. So I have a feeling Ineos is also not going to be very patient. So it could be a tricky one. I really hope we don't get into that stage where some of these discussions start. I would really like Eric Ten Hag to succeed and get us in the mix of challenging for the title. But it could pan out differently as well. So I hope a strong start to the season is something that is required.
Yes, yes. So our first five fixtures to Premier League are Fulham home, Brighton away, Liverpool, Southampton, and Crystal Palace. How many points do you see us taking out of these 5 games?
Yeah, maybe I will add Spurs to the mix as well, because then it sort of covers the two international
Mhm.
breaks getting into that. So first three fixtures, Fulham home, Brighton away, Liverpool home, are prior to the first international break. And then Southampton away, Crystal Palace away, Spurs home are between the first and the second international break. So those 6 games, if I look at them, Fulham home, Brighton away, Liverpool home, first three, I would expect at least 6 points out of 9.
Two
And
victories,
then
yeah.
Southampton, yeah, 2 victories at the least. In fact, I've come to think of it, 5 also may not be that bad. Win against Fulham at home, draw away at Brighton, draw at home to Liverpool may not be that bad. So realistically speaking, 5 out of 9. But out after that, if we get clicking, Southampton away, Crystal Palace away, and Spurs home, we could technically win all 3 of them. So a great start to the season could see us being 14, 15 points out of 18.
Not bad, not bad. And this is Premier League. Where what do you think about Europe? What do you think is our realistic expectations we should have out of Europa League?
Europa League also has a different structure this season. We have, I think, 8 games in the initial group stage, and it's not like different groups. It's one big group that will be there. So it will be interesting to see how things play out there, because we will need to finish at a certain standing to be able to qualify for the next level. So there could be cases when we might need to play a stronger squad as we proceed in the Europa League as well. But I have a feeling we will go deep into the Europa League if we are still in the mix of top 4, and at a later stage in the Europa League, it will come down to what do we prioritize. Unfortunately, I don't see us winning the Europa League, but I get a feeling we will go deep. But in addition to that, maybe we'll win another domestic trophy.
So successful season you see as a top 4 finish, domestic trophy, and going deep into the Europa League. Yes.
That is something I see realistically happening. I would want to win the Europa League as well. All said and done, about it being a competition which is lesser than the Champions League, we are in that competition. We can win what is in front of us. I would want us to win that, but just with how difficult the Premier League is managing that and Europa League, and if we are going deep into FA Cup, some of those games as well towards the end of season can become very tricky, and our luck with injuries hasn't been great. So yeah, that is my realistic expectation. What about you? What do you think?
No, I broadly agree. 2 weeks ago, my answer would have been different. 2 weeks ago, I was very bullish on our squad depth. Then the sad injury to Lenny Yoro happened. In a single game, we lost Lenny Yoro and Oilun for about 3 months and 2 months, respectively. So yeah, I feel with the squad depth, I still feel we have a decent size squad. I think we have 26 first team players. Our academy players are always knocking on the door for starts. I believe we will go deep into the Europa League. Players must be itching for some European football after the premature exit of United from Champions League last season. Defense was the reason of our early exit last year, coupled by a few nervy moments from Onana as well. I feel both the goalkeeping department and the defense department has improved vastly from the last year. I do see us finishing strongly in Europa League. Last 2 years have been termed as a mini success because of domestic success in either Carabao or FA Cup win. Long may that continue. I'd like us to see pick up another trophy. A hat trick of trophies across 3 consecutive years would be something nice, something which we are not accustomed to seeing since the past decade. So it will be nice for Eric Ten Hag to maintain that streak. It will be nice for United youngsters to know how winning a trophy feels like. And more than anything, I'd just like to see us competing for the title at some given point of time across the season. We have been languishing in the sixth, the seventh. It has been quite a long time since we saw our team, competing for the title. I don't say that I don't see us as, the clear favorites to win the title. That being said, I'd like us to give it a fair shot. I'd like every player to give it a fair shot. And a key to that would be the fast start, like you mentioned, across the next first 6 games. If we win 4 or 5, then we have momentum, and then Euro Hoyland comes back again. We have a full strength squad, and anything can happen. It's Premier League, anything can happen, and I would like us to take confidence from the good start to the season.
Yeah, I think the nearest we have been to challenging for the title is when we were close to being first or second under Ole in his second season at Christmas. I remember Eric Bailly playing that game out of nowhere, and I think it was against Wolves when he pulled off a last-minute goal line clearance, and we were top of the table at that point in time. People were starting to talk about 21 and all of that. I mean, that still was very premature, but we haven't seen anything beyond that. I mean, even in Jose's best season, when we finished second, we were still, I think, 16, 18 points off Manchester City. So it's not like we have really challenged for a title in the last decade or so. But I think this is a good segue into some of the wild predictions that we were talking about. And my wild prediction is that one way or the other, City is not involved in the title race. It is between Arsenal and United. And knowing how things have been with Arsenal, how they tend to choke towards the end of the season, something dreamy could happen. What do you think?
That's a bold take, my friend. City, till the time Pep is in Manchester City, I don't see City not being part of the title conversations. But I hope you are right. I hope I'm wrong there.
I will give you some thought process with regard to that. And I said one way or the other intentionally, because next month, I think the trial for the 115 charges is going to begin. They are expecting a result by December or January. It could be a huge point docking. It could be something on the lines of what Juventus had to go through when there were match-fixing charges for them. So you never know what could happen. Or otherwise as well, I think the loss of Julian Alvarez, unless they end up signing somebody else. And even Oscar Bob, I was reading yesterday, had a fracture in training apparently. So their squad is suddenly looking bleak. I have a feeling they will end up signing somebody who will sort of take care of that. But the last couple of seasons, you're starting to see a few cracks. This could be Pep Guardiola's last season at Manchester City. His contract runs out in 25. We never know what is going to happen there. So, it feels like some cracks are beginning to appear with these 115 charges looming large. Anything could happen. You never know.
One can hope, my friends.
What is your wild prediction in terms of league or some major signing or something on those lines?
I still see. I feel United finishing in the top 4 is a hot take as of now. The kind of form we have seen in the last couple of seasons doesn't bring me too much confidence. I think that would be my hot take. United finishing up in top 2. People still call me delusional on that, but yeah, I'm a United fan. I've grown up delusional, and that delusion is the belief which our former manager, the great Sir Alex Ferguson, used to say: "Till the time we are believing, you never write United off till the last whistle." So yeah, that is my hot take. United finishing in the top 4 this season.
Got it. Okay, then let's talk about a little more about other clubs. We talked about, I think both of us realistically feel either third or fourth. Top 4 is what we are thinking. But in terms of predictions for where other teams in the Premier League finish, any thoughts there? Let's talk about top 6, given we have a clear distinction between some of the top teams, and I think it will also give us room to talk about the teams that miss out on top six, given there are 8 teams which are relatively good in the league.
I feel the first two right themselves, both City and Arsenal, they come with the same, squad, deep squad of players, very well settled. The managers have their thought process instilled in the teams. I don't see far from City and Arsenal for the first couple of positions. I believe it will be between two of them. The winner of the Premier League would be there this season. So third, fourth, and fifth, I feel would be a mix between United, Liverpool, and Spurs. I still feel these three are the strongest squads after City and Arsenal. I don't see any of these three teams competing for the title per se. But the top four battles should be between these three. And on sixth, I see one of Aston Villa or West Ham staking a claim this season. Aston Villa have strengthened. West Ham have done really good transfer business this season. Brighton, even though they are good, I still see them finishing 7th or 8th. These would be my top six, Aruj. How about you? Where do you see all the teams?
Dheeraj, I'm going to put you in a bit of a spot. Take a pick on who will win, who will finish third, fourth, fifth.
Okay, my realistic take would be Liverpool, United, and Spurs.
Liverpool, United, Spurs, third, fourth, fifth. And between City and Arsenal, who win?
I think City will nick it again.
Interesting. And you did not talk about Newcastle or Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't see them challenging. Even though both are strong teams, I feel Chelsea are still, they have such a big squad. There are bound to be chaos there. And Newcastle, even though their attacking unit is great, I don't see them having a good enough defense to take make the plunge to top four again this season.
We will come back to this maybe mid of the season and then obviously towards the end of the season as well. I will quickly cover mine. I think this is the season when Arteta finally does it. I think it's almost like a do it or go out kind of a season for him. The team has been playing really well for Arteta. It just feels like without winning a trophy, how much motivation will there be left for the squad as well as Arteta to keep doing it again and again? I think this year is when they will go all guns blazing. I feel Arsenal do it over City this time. So Arsenal 1, City 2 for me. United third for me. I spoke about that earlier as well. I think this is the season where we get our groove and we finish third. Fourth is an interesting one. I will agree with you. I think Spurs could do it. I will go with Spurs as fourth. And for fifth and sixth, it is between Liverpool and Newcastle, interestingly for me. I think Villa drop off because of participation in Europe. Chelsea, I completely agree with you. It's going to be a season where Maresca probably gets sacked sometime by the mid of this season. But to be committal, I will say Liverpool 5th, Newcastle 6th, Aston Villa 7th, Brighton 8th. No Chelsea in top 8. Very interesting.
Really interesting. I see you didn't get any West Ham in there as well.
Yeah. If we put Arsenal and City out of the picture, I think between 3rd and 10th, any of the teams could finish anywhere. That's how strong the Premier League is now.
Definitely. So who do you think would be the breakout star of the season for Manchester United this year?
This year, if I were to just bring into my thought process how the preseason has been, how some of the last season was, I would go with Alejandro Garnacho really stepping up this season, probably getting 20 plus goal involvements in the Premier League. So like 10 goals, 10 assists or something on those lines. Having a pivotal role in Europa as well as some of the domestic competitions as well. So I think the breakout star and probable nominee for Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year will be Alejandro Garnacho for me. What about you?
Great pick actually. He really has gone strength to strength in the past couple of seasons since his debut. We saw last year he did take the step up. He did come in strong for a lot of games. He did come in handy for a lot of games. Scored that brilliant goal in the FA Cup final. Recently scored in the Community Shield as well. I do expect him to have a very strong season. My breakout star of the season would be Melu though. I very much pine for a midfield stalwart at United. I believe that player, we have never, in the true sense of its word, replaced Michael Carrick in the last 6-8 years. We have had such a big outlay on the midfield positions. We have brought in Casemiro, we have brought in a lot of players in the midfield, and yet the player who has come out and really shown us that he can control games with a calm, composed head has been Menu for me. He had a brilliant outing at the Euros as well. He has come back and fitted like a glove in the United team. I feel he makes a stick. I feel he breaks up chances. I feel he goes up front with no fear in his head. He is for me, the breakout star of the season. He will be the breakout star of the season for me. I think this is the season where he takes it to the next level, actually start controlling games.
Very, very much possible. And the fact that we are speaking about these 19, 20-year-olds as somebody who will be pivotal to United's season, I think goes on to say a lot about what the future has in store for us. And add to that the likes of Lenny Yoro, Ahmad, Højlund. I think these guys are truly our star boys, and they will be the spine of the team going forward. So I'm very excited about the future.
And a testament to our academy as well, which has been, in this is playing the Matt Busby way. This is it doesn't matter if you're old enough, if you're good enough, you do get into the team, you do get your chances. United were the team who gave teenagers the maximum number of minutes in the last Premier League seasons, somewhere around 4,500 minutes. That was such a brilliant start to read. We have had academy player in our squad since I don't know how many years now. So yeah, really good to see that all managers who have managed United staying true to the Manchester United culture.
Yeah. Just a wild question there. Do you think Chido Obi Martin gets any minutes in the first team this season?
Depends how deep we go in all competitions. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some. I believe he would have been given some promise of minutes in the first team when he has agreed to sign for us. We are yet to hear the final confirmation from the club about his signing. When we do, I do see him getting some sort of minutes depending on how deep we go into the competitions.
Let's see. I don't think he gets minutes this season, but he will be involved for under 19s, probably under 21s. But if he plays well enough for them, you never know.
He has played brilliantly for Arsenal. Let's hope that may continue at United. So amongst the summer signings, who do you see having the biggest impact to United's play this season?
It is a bit of a difficult one because let's do one by one. We began with Zirkzee, Lenny Yoro, De Ligt, and now Mazraoui, and we'll probably have one more big signing in form of a number 6. But out of the 4, I think De Ligt is somebody who will have the biggest impact. He is ready-made first team. He has experience of playing for the biggest teams. Zirkzee will still take time to get involved. Lenny Yoro is injured right now. Even when he's fit, he will take time to get to be in rehab and be back with the first team squad. Mazraoui could play that squad role once Shaw and Dalot are both available. So I think from an impact perspective, De Ligt is somebody who could have the biggest impact.
No, I quite agree with that one. De Ligt has been unfairly judged by the English media yet again. They never learn from their mistakes. They did it with Martial, 50 million down the drain. And yet Tony Martial scored and scored again. They're doing it again with Dillit. Graham Souness has called him a lightweight. I believe these are really bad takes and in very poor taste, as the player has not set foot on the field in England yet. They're yet to see his gameplay, and he's been judged even before he's touched the ball. Such is the impact of Manchester United on these people's childhood and their when they used to play. That again, it is United hated, adored, but never ignored. But yeah, I do believe Delete will be the one who will have the maximum impact. I do believe it's a position we've been crying out for, some composed, crying out for a player who's very calm in his head. And I believe Delete will bring that. He will marshal that defense. He will help us maintain that high line. He is someone who's played and won a lot with Ten Hag. I believe Ten Hag has a back four, back five who he trusts in now. I do see Delete playing a big part in the season.
Yeah, even Tim Sherwood questioned that is he even better than Harry Maguire. I mean, in very poor taste, some of these comments, but something that really didn't go well with me was likes of Paul Scholes and somebody, I think Ferdinand or somebody else, United legend, also speaking about the value that we are paying for Delict, the fact that Bayern are letting him go and all of that. I mean, you expect better of the club legends to, even if they have certain thoughts, talking about it like this in the media just puts unnecessary pressure on the club and the player. So I don't think it doesn't go well with me, but hopefully Delict proves them wrong on the field.
No, agree. Arush, who do you see the next academy player breaking into the first team? Who do you see as our next Menu?
I think we've seen signs of it in terms of the minutes Collier and Amas got. In the pre-season, Collier was also involved in the Community Shield. I would bet it would be one of these two. If I had to choose one of them, I would probably go Collier. However, I would not rule out Wheatley. I think he has been decent whenever he has come on. I think he got a few minutes in the first team last season. So he may not break out as such, but he may be involved a little more.
Interesting. I'm seeing Ten Hag's comments. I personally feel it'll be Amas who we see first. Ten Hag said in 2-3 months he will be ready for first team football, and our backline seems to have been made of glass the past few seasons. I can still foresee, like, it won't surprise me if we are light on the fullback region in another 2-3 months. I really hope that doesn't happen, but I do see Amas coming in at the left back position, playing some minutes, and he was a very courageous player. I really liked his forward runs. If he improves on his defensive side of the game, I do believe he has what it takes to be a Manchester United first team player. So yeah, that will be my pick for the academy player who comes into our team.
Yeah, I have no reasons to disagree. Could happen.
Great. I think we should move on to discuss the upcoming season opener of the Premier League, United versus Fulham. Who are your players to watch for this game? Who do you think plays a key part in the game?
For some reason or another, Dheeraj, I keep going back to, I think 3 seasons back when we had our season opener against Leeds when we won 5-1. Bruno hat-trick, Pogba 4 assists. I have a feeling this is going to be that kind of a game, and I have a feeling Bruno will step up again. I think Bruno is somebody who I expect. In fact, from a fantasy Premier League standpoint also, I am considering going for Bruno. I have a feeling that, at the beginning of the season, he could do a bit of his magic and outperform on the low price that has been put on him. But yeah, I think Bruno is my bet for that.
Brilliant. No, Bruno did look in form against the Community Shield in the game against City as well. I do see him playing a big part this season and this game as well. I do see him starting. Okay, let's go with your predicted starting 11 to start with for this game.
Okay, my starting 11 for the game: Onana in goal, right back Dalu. Center back will be interesting, and we haven't heard from the manager as yet. But I think De Ligt definitely starts. From the reports that I've been reading, De Ligt is fit enough for the game. Now, if Mazarawi is fit enough, Mazarawi left back and Licha at left centre back. However, if Mazarawi is not fit enough, it could be Maguire at left centre back and Martinez at left back. So that will be the defense for me. Casemiro and Menu in 6 and 8 respectively, and Bruno and Mount in like a false 9 and 10 kind of a role respectively for me. Now, when it comes to wings, I think it's another tricky one. My hand on heart, I think Ahmad and Garnacho should be the two players starting, but I have a feeling Eric Ten Hag would want to continue with Rashford to ensure that he doesn't go low on confidence, etc. And very unfortunately, that may see Ahmad dropping on the bench and Garnacho starting on the right, Rashford on left, and Ahmad maybe coming in at 60th minute or so.
So broadly, I do agree. I feel the back five, I'm with you on the back five. Midfield, I do not see Mount starting this one. I feel it would be Zirkzee start for this one. I feel Zirkzee was, not kept in the squad with the Community Shield so that he could build some match fitness. He's played some behind the doors game as well this week. I feel Zirkzee comes into play. I do agree with your wings that Rashford and Garnacho will be the one starts, which is a bit harsh on Ahmad, but he will know that his minutes will be managed this season. But yes, I do see this season as the season wherein Ahmad also breaks out and brings about at least goals and assists in the double figures if given the appropriate time. He will get his time. I just don't believe this game would be it. I believe Rashford and Garnacho did enough in the first game to warrant a start in this one. I believe it will be a Zirkzee start for us to have a gameplay around a known striker. Even though Zirkzee, as we repeatedly said, Zirkzee has said that he's a 9.5, not a 9. Still believe that 9.5 does get a start in this one.
With Zirkzee, my only challenge that I see there is, I do not think Eric Ten Hag believes that he has fit into the system. Otherwise, he would have been involved as a substitute or in some capacity. I hope I'm wrong. I want to see him start as well. But my hunch is that Zirkzee comes on as a substitute. So in absence of Zirkzee starting was my only thought process. I kept Bruno as the false 9 and Mount behind him. But yeah, I think largely we are aligned.
So just doing a bit of rival watch, I noticed that Fulham let go of 3 very important players in Todin Adarabio, Joao Polinia and Tim Ream. 3 of them left, and they did sign they made a good couple of signings. Emil Smith Rowe being the flagship signing, the record signing till date, who's fitted in very well at Fulham. His minutes were being managed. He was a bit injured last season, and his minutes were being managed by Arteta, and he took a bold decision of leaving Arsenal at a time when Arsenal have been flying high, joining a team just to get minutes. So always mad respect for a player who does that. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. And in the 2 preseason games he has been involved in, I think he has scored in both of them. I saw a few highlights and he is repeatedly crashing the box. I think the midfield, Casemiro, Menu, I think will especially need to keep an eye on him, because if the forward sort of involve the centre backs and there is space around the edge of the box, that is typically the place where you will find Smith Rowe coming in and taking a shot, and he's a decent finisher. He's also good creatively. So in and around the box, he could be making those intricate passes in the final third, and that will be tricky. So Emil Smith Rowe is somebody who I feel will be their player to look out. And even Robinson at left back, I think he has been doing decently well. So whether it's Garnacho or Ahmad, they will have a responsibility to track back when Robinson has the ball or in possession, he is bombarding the left wing. But all in all, I think loss of Palinia is going to be something that Fulham will find difficult to deal with. But Marco Silva is a steady manager. Overall, I see them finishing mid-table between whatever 15th to 10th maybe. And this game not giving us too much trouble, hopefully. And yeah, United winning this one. Maybe that brings us to score predictions as well, Dheeraj. What do you think?
I think it should be a hard fought 2-0 victory for United this one. I don't see us, scoring 3 or 4 goals in this season. I'll be very happy to have kept a clean sheet in the first game. Really hope Onana is not brought into play as much. Hope for Xerxes, Rashford to open their accounts. I'd go for a 2-0 victory with Rashford and a Xerxes goal. What about you?
I think a few more goals will happen. My prediction is 3-1. Bruno scoring a brace and Ahmad either coming off the bench or if he is to start scoring as well. So I have 2 for Bruno, 1 for Ahmad, 3-1 victory United.
Why do you hate clean sheets, Saraj?
It's just our style of play, right? I mean, last entire year we have been so open. I hope we see improvements, but I'm just being a little realistic there to say that okay, we will not transform overnight, so it will come slowly. And also, our game management is very poor. So one mistake or the other does happen. I'm hoping over the course of this season we improve on that. But first game, also Old Trafford, you want to be passionate, aggressive, and you might leave a little spaces at times behind, which is where we might concede 1 goal. But I think it will be a positive result, 3-1 victory.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, folks. This is it from us. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So don't forget to reach out on social media. Do share your opinions. Do join in the conversations. Do remember the season is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's keep the faith. Let's keep supporting the lads. Let's enjoy the season. Its twists and turns along the way. So yeah, that'll be a wrap for the episode of Knock Off the Perch.
And as always, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.